So you're probably wondering why we've called you all here. Katie's new haircut.
Thank you.
For all you viewers watching, you can watch Katie's hair look nice and continue to look nice, and mine continue to grow. I'm about, maybe, it'll be time another like 6 weeks, probably. But not now.
That'll be our next blog.
That'll be, yes, the Greg's haircut blog. Maybe I'll do a lost lost hair thing where I don't cut it until we get answers.
Please don't.
Okay. So, ab Aeterno, Latin for from eternity, from the beginning. A lot of Latin in this episode.
AKA Richard gets a hot beard.
Ricardus, AKA Ricardo, AKA Richard, gets hot beard. You notice his natural eyeliner more.
Way more.
No, I was thinking say less actually. You think?
Really?
Yeah, with the beard.
There was a close up of him when he was on the ship, and I thought for sure it had to be eyeliner, but I don't think it is.
No,
I
it's
think
not.
That's a real eyelashes.
Yeah. People have come out. I don't know if he said, but people who've worked on the show have come out and said, "No, seriously, it's not."
I just want
believe me, Katie. This is lost. This is lost. If there's any minutia, it will have been investigated to a T.
True.
Look out for the glare on your glasses. We don't really want to. Yeah. All right. So, Richard's episode, we see the beginning, Richard's backstory, his wife's dying. One thing I thought was interesting is that we see, though inadvertently, he has killed a man, much like many other people on the island. Could even be Jack, could have, whatever. Jack had men's lives at stake. In surgery, Kate killed a man.
Killed her dad, yeah.
So, that's possibly a theme, drawing people to the island throughout history or whatever. So he also steals the stuff, and then blah, blah, blah,
right.
Cut to, he's in jail, and, what's his name?
Father.
Father Suarez, who's a jackass, by the way.
Yep.
But, Jonas Whitfield, we see him come and say, "No, you don't have to die. You can be my slave." So he's gonna be like, yeah, and then that's the guy who takes him on Black Rock. Time out for a second. I don't know if I called this on my blog, but I did call that Richard was in those chains.
I forgot that whole little snippet when they were in there the last time when he was trying to blow himself up.
Yeah, and he said he'd been there. He'd been there before, but not in a very long time. So I think no one's really talking about this, but maybe it's too obvious. Maybe it's completely harebrained. But I do think that Jonas Whitfield is related to Charles Widmore. I think that I'm now thinking that there's nothing special about Widmore other than he's really rich, dating back to slave colonial era, like incredible wealth. It's been passed on down. He's been trying to track down what happened to his great grandfather or whatever it is, who was Whitfield. And the only difference between him and other people is he's rich, and he's been drawn to the island, trying to find the island actively. Maybe he knew about it, knew more about it, but I think at this point he's kind of lumped in with everybody else. So we find out via Richard that we think once and for all it's been set up as this conflict between the Man in Black and Jacob, and that we think, probably maybe most people think at this point in time, Jacob is good. Once and for all, he's good.
Yeah.
Like, they were trying to toy with us and imply that maybe he wasn't, but we think he is.
Yeah, I think so. Nobody that cute can be that evil. Right, Greg?
He does wear a lot of linen. It's a bit much linen for me.
It's a beach if he can afford it.
Yeah.
Get cash.
Yeah.
This ain't the Hamptons.
It's very much what J. Crew's line would have looked like had it been around in 1867. So anyway, rambling.
But to touch on the greater overall about the show, and it's been touched on several seasons ago, been guessed at, that maybe the island is purgatory.
Oh, yes.
That it's hell. And I think that plays in a lot more with Jacob and the other dude, good and evil, light and dark, this sort of element. And the other guy telling Richard, "You're in hell," and Richard believing him, and then in the end, Jacob saying, "No, this isn't hell." So it kind of, there's a lot of things going on here that I don't believe it's hell. I don't believe that the island represents hell, but I do think, and as we were talking about after we watched the episode, that there are a lot of elements of free will going on, and sort of punishment for things that you did in your life, and this is where a lot of these people have come to make amends with that, or trying to,
Well, keep going.
Yeah, I think there's a bicycle horn outside. To make better of their sins, to I don't know. I'm not Catholic. I don't have the.
Well,
the word
it's
for it.
Atonement and penitence and repentance is not necessarily just a Catholic idea.
But if we're sticking with the religious theme here, this is sort of what it is. They're trying to make up for their sins in this life, which is this island, this space. I don't believe it's hell, but I think there's something there with good and evil. And but you were also talking about free will for you.
Yeah. I think this sort of really hits the nail on the head of what Lost really is about. It's not about time travel. It's not about scientific research. If it is, it's only about how that intersects with this epic battle.
Stop it!
But so it's really interesting what Jacob says. I forget the exact wording. It's well written. I will give you a compliment on dialogue in parts of this episode, Lost Riders. But anyway, he's saying basically he can't make people do the right thing. They have to choose it on their own, and that's true. I mean, you can't it doesn't really count if you force someone to do the right thing. So I like that. I'm all in that conflict. I think that even perhaps maybe the man in black thinks he's trapped, but really he, just like Jack, just like all these other people, has to find his way. And hopefully Jacob's hoping that he will find his way, will find the right thing, and then he can get out. He can leave the island or whatever that means. That's what I think about him.
Also, I'm a bit confused, or maybe this will come up later, with the whole idea of how people coming in on the island as a candidate, and as Richard was not a candidate. So I guess Richard was sort of his advisor, his stand-in, his mediator between people that do come to the island for whatever purpose. But I guess they are stating that Jacob called all of these people to the island as candidates to take his place in some form. I don't really know what that means, because I guess Jacob knows that he has to leave, or this time is up, his whatever, Anyway, I think that's going to come next. But as we found out at the end of the episode, Richard had a change of heart. First of all, we're skipping over the entire thing that he was talking to his wife the whole episode. Or Hurley was. And anyway, that's sad. Isabella was hot too.
Yeah.
Really sad.
They kill all the hottest women off.
I know.
A couple are still there. But go ahead.
Yeah. But can she run?
Can she run?
That's the biggest thing.
Yeah. We've
been saying all along that they could only have people on the show or the island who can run really well.
They should make that square one of their casting process. Let me see you run through a jungle, because Juliet can't do it.
I think that's why she's dead.
Ben can't do it.
She was a weird runner.
Yeah. And this show honestly is 30% running.
True. Yeah. So that brings us, I guess, towards the end of... Did you want to touch on anything before we wrap?
No, I don't think so.
That brings us to the end, where Richard had a change of heart and said, "Does your offer still stand?" Meaning to the evil guy, the smoke monster. He changed his mind. He doesn't want to be on Jacob's side. He wants to get off the island. He doesn't want to be in this thing where he lives forever, which I don't know why anybody would want to live forever anyway. Especially on a weird island like that where all I had to do was run around. But what was I going to say? Oh, he dug up the cross, and then Evil Locke was watching over. So I guess we can kind of forecast that for the next episode or few, there's going to be a huge pull. While there's already a higher pull between Widmore, Evil Locke, that Sawyer is trying to get in between. Everybody wants to get off the island. It's just a matter of what and who's going to win in that thing. And now there's... Jacob and Evil Locke in general.
Yeah.
So,
a lot of things to look forward to. Yeah. So, I enjoyed it, and I'm looking forward to the next one. All right.